Hello, 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 and welcome to my channel. I want to talk about why you should, or rather, should you use a spreadsheet for your bookkeeping if you're just getting started, or should you use something else? And if you should use something else, what is it? So, this really is designed for really small businesses who are maybe just freelancers or solopreneurs or people who have a really small teams and there's not a lot going on. And you don't have enough transactions every month in order to warrant hiring someone. P.S. Once you get above about 20 transactions a month, you absolutely should be handing that off to somebody. And transactions means incoming and outgoing. So between the things that you are spending, the accounts payable and the accounts receivable, you are at 20 to 30 transactions per month. You really should be hiring somebody to handle that for you. And if you need help with that, let's chat. I will leave a link below to my website and to have all of the information that you need to schedule a chat with me. Now, should you be using a spreadsheet if you have less than that, or you're still right around there and you're like, you know what, I don't mind doing it myself. Should you be using just a spreadsheet? Honestly, my my official answer is no. And I have reasons for that, but I am going to confess that for years and years and years, I used a spreadsheet. And pretty much at the time where I was handling all of my bookkeeping at the end of the year, I got exhausted with trying to manage it that way. So I don't do that anymore. I definitely have a program. But for a lot of people, they're like, you know what? I don't want to pay for QuickBooks because it's expensive. And you're right. It really is very expensive. However, there are other programs that are not as expensive or free that do the same thing as QuickBooks. And one of them is called Wave Accounting Apps. And I highly, highly recommend them. I tend to recommend them to any small business who is not really doesn't have the necessity to have budgeting tools via their program. It's just unnecessary. If you don't have payroll, and even if you do have payroll, I don't necessarily recommend QuickBooks for payroll anyway. There are other programs, again, that are better. Think, for instance, Gusto is one that I have heard nothing but good things about. It's very simple to use. It's really straightforward and upfront and very simplistic. And they also do some other HR stuff within Gusto. So like there are significant reasons to go with them over something like QuickBooks and their payroll. In addition to all of that, they're just the problem that I have with using spreadsheets is that, yes, when you download your transactions from your bank, you can easily pull those things into a spreadsheet format, right? That's how they come, is a CSV, which is comma separated value, basically an Excel spreadsheet. And it gives you all this extra information that nobody actually needs or cares about because it's literally everything that the bank keeps track of or their system keeps track of, right? The problem comes in, especially when you get into that 10 to 15 transactions per month bracket, is that how are you adding up all of those categories at the end of the year or at the end of the month? Well, like, how are you doing that? How are you doing it? And that You would literally have to recreate your spreadsheet every single month. And that with calculations and all of that crap, and that feels crazy to me. It just feels like insanity. Whereas if you were to use something like Wave, it's only going to pull in the relevant information that is required by your bank. It automatically will sync your transactions. And even if it doesn't automatically sync the transactions, because some banks don't work so well with it. Same thing, I had the exact same problem with QuickBooks, which was part of why I got rid of QuickBooks. Is like, if my bank is not syncing properly, and it's not QuickBooks fault, it's my bank's fault. So that may be a whole nother conversation of getting rid of USAA, but I really like USAA, and they have been good to me for many, many years now. And they're super easy to work with. I do need to get a local bank so that if anybody ever hands me cash, I can put it in there, or a check for that matter. But all of my checks, 99.9% of the time in the 8 years of using USAA, more than that, 10 years of using USAA, I have only once found a check that would not cash. One time. So all this to say, Wave is only going to pull in the relevant information. It's going to allow you to set up a chart of accounts, meaning not the accounts that you're syncing, not like your bank and your checking account, your savings account, your credit cards, etc. Not those, but the actual chart of accounts that keeps a track of, how much you're spending on advertising, how much you're spending on vehicle expense, how much fuel, vehicle expense, other vehicle expense, repairs and maintenance, rent expense, etc., etc. It's going to keep track of all of those things. Simply by a click of the button, you go, that's rent expense, that's advertising, that's subscriptions and dues and things like that. And by keeping those things separated and managed very easily, it allows you to actually run reports. And at the end of the year and at the end of every month, you need to understand what your profit and loss is. You need to understand what your business has done throughout the year. Because if you're keeping track of these things, and let's say you have a big, audacious, crazy ass goal that you're going for your finances, if 3 months into the year, you haven't met any of your goals, it's time to make a shift. But if you're not tracking that stuff, there's no way that you know what needs to change, because you're also likely not tracking your income appropriately. Can you tell me right now, today, if you have 4 products that you sell, which one is the most lucrative? Can you look at your spreadsheet and pull that information within seconds? If the answer is no, then it's time to shift gears, and it's time to get the appropriate software for your needs. Okay. And so I'm not pushing them because they're paying me to say this. I'm pushing this because this is the software that I use. This is the software that I recommend to each one of my clients. And it's I literally gain nothing. I would make more money by telling you to use QuickBooks because I could get an affiliate account with them. That should tell you something, right? I could make a bundle of money every month by telling you to use QuickBooks, but that's not the best solution for everybody. And in fact, most people don't need to deal with the headache that is going with QuickBooks. It's okay, but it's not my favorite for a number of reasons. And that's a whole nother video. But I do suggest you do something, whether that be Xero. A lot of people use Xero. A lot of people use Xero. A lot of people use QuickBooks. Millions of people. A lot of people use things like FreshBooks. I find Xero and FreshBooks a little limiting in the way that their pricing structure is set up. It's not my favorite, but for a lot of people that works really, really well. And for a lot of people, they choose something like Wave Accounting. It's a great application. It's free. They make their money by the fact that they have a payment processor. So if you choose to use their billing, you can. It's very competitive as far as the pricing goes. It's not my favorite, so I don't use that aspect of it, but it is there to use if someone wishes to. Anyway, I will hop off my soapbox. Stop using the spreadsheets. Start using the proper tools so that you can track things properly and just plain easier in yourself and your way of life. Okay. All right. I hope you have a good day, and I'll talk to you all soon. See ya. Bye.